Hey everyone, Swing Pony here. Welcome to the Place Your Trades Network, where we discuss trading daily options using the CME Group's event contracts. These give us access to 10 different futures markets, including the E-mini S&P, NASDAQ, natural gas, gold, silver, and more. We have an awesome show ahead. I actually have a fellow member of the Place Your Trades team joining me, and that is Pax. If you're not familiar with Pax, he actually hosts a show every Friday where he discusses capital preservation. I'm always a big fan of anybody who's sort of preaching the less is more in these markets, and he's got an incredible background as a floor trader, which makes him the perfect guest to come on and sort of share some of his wisdom and insights throughout the year. One of the topics that we're going to discuss today is how to build self-trust through routines and habits. Now, I know a lot of people say, it's just a morning routine. Who cares? What's the big deal? What does that have to do with my trading? But I am a firm believer in how you do anything is how you do everything. And Pax is going to come on and sort of discuss what his daily routine looks like and why that affects him as a trader. So great topic ahead. Before we get started, today's broadcast is brought to you by Tradeovate. They've created a custom app that we all use to trade these event contracts. And if you want to join us, just download the app and sign up. We've got a great team that's posting daily picks every day. We've got educational resources, a lot of good stuff surrounding these event contracts. Let's go ahead and get Pax out here. Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm excited to talk to you today.
I'm very, very excited to have you here. I just love looking at like your old floor pictures as a trader and just like the experiences and like wisdom that you have had going through this thing. I can't wait to dive in.
Oh, those were great days. Those Anthony had asked me one time in a podcast if I would go back to the floor if we had it. I love that, and I learned a lot in those days, but I think I preferred screen-based trading.
A little less stressful, I imagine.
Less stressful. I'm healthier. The money was better on the floor. It came quicker. There was more of it, but I'm healthier. I'm happier. I'm more well adjusted. I'm more in control of my trading. I don't have so many things to worry about. I had to worry about other traders. I had to worry about out trades. I had to worry about mistakes that my clerks made or that other brokers made or other traders made and how they would affect me. And all, not to mention just the fact that on the screens, I've got access to every tick. In the pit, I didn't, so
Sure.
I'd have a stop in my mind at even, and we go even bid, half, 5 bid, 10 bid. I'm bidding the market up, racing it against myself because other people are doing the same thing on the screens. I can get out at different ticks.
Is that where you're doing all the hand gestures that you and Delhi used to do back in the day?
I guess so. Yeah. When we're in Vegas, you said this the other day on Twitter. When we're in Vegas, me and Anthony can have a whole conversation using sign language or the arbitrage, what we used to call ARB, and nobody would know what we were talking about.
I imagine that's going to be a lot of fun after a couple cocktails.
It will be.
We'll have fun trying to interpret it from afar. But I'm super excited to have you on because I know that you've been doing this for a long time. There's a few things that always stand out to me when I think of you. You already host Capital Preservation Friday. You're all about there's no need to overtrade. Take your slice of the pie, get out, go enjoy your life. You have experienced, a few different instances of going from rags to riches and back and forth. And you're also very big on a morning routine and getting the day started knowing that you can handle the trades ahead of you, that you're well equipped mentally, physically to make the best decisions in the market. So we have an awesome topic today. Building self-trust through routine and habits. And before we jump into that, I want to ask you, what are some of the experiences that you've gone through where you've lost a lot of money? Maybe you weren't sure if you could do it again. Like, walk me through what the emotions of that was like.
Well, I made a lot more money trading than what I lost, but I lost a lot of money in like in 08 and 09. I lost a lot of money. I lost a couple of $1 million, a few $1 million in a prop group that I owned. That went under. My mother died, my sister died, my mother-in-law died, all in the same 6 months in 08 and 09. So
oh my gosh,
that exacerbated the whole thing. Then everything imploded, and I was overextended in real estate at one point. So I got killed in that aspect, but I still had enough money to keep going. And so I went back onto the I traded for Pete Stottlemyre for a little bit when he was trying to update market profile. And then I decided to go back, and at that point I knew that I was still a great trader or a good trader, and I knew that I'd be okay. So I went onto the floor and I traded in the hog market, which was a new pit for me and a new style of trading. And I learned how to do that. And then MF Global happened. And that was like, all of the stuff that I didn't deal with in 08 and 09, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally came crashing down on me after MF Global. And I just started throwing away money. I mean, just trying to trade back that money that I lost. MF Global was a bank that failed in 2011. It was a clearing firm that failed. All of our money was wiped away in a day. I walked onto the floor one day and I had a bunch of hog spreads on. The next day, there was nothing for me to do. I couldn't even get on, and I didn't know what was going on. So I went home and I traded on the screens and just really pissing away money day after day after day, until finally, my wife and I sat down and I told her what had happened. We had to start all over again. So at that point, I had absolutely no confidence. I didn't trust myself. I didn't have any confidence in my ability to be able to trade on the screens. The floor was basically gone. Even in the hog pit was really kind of over at that point. And so, the writing was on the wall. If I was going to make it as a trader anymore, I was going to have to adapt what worked for me on the floor in the NASDAQ pit. When I traded NASDAQ, I was going to have to figure out how to adapt that to the screens. And I didn't have the kind of money behind me that I had before. So I only put small amounts of money into my trading account. I started my first trading account in 2012 was $5,000. I put 5,000 into a trading account, and that was it. So I could have put more money in, but I didn't have the ability to make $50,000 mistakes. So if I put $50,000 in there, I'd make $50,000 mistakes. So I started with 5,000. I started to trade one lots, and I started to adopt the opening range method that I used on the floor to the screens, and then trading in stages in and out.
So little by little to sort of gain the confidence back, right? Yeah. I like what you said about, having experienced such large accounts and big amounts of money, but then starting with 5K because, everybody wishes they had a bigger account to work with. And while I understand having more money can help generate more money, but if you're not in the right position to trade, if you don't have a system, if you're not disciplined, if you're not following it, if you don't know what you're doing, having a $50,000 account is just going to get you back down to 5. So while, starting with a smaller account does have its limitations, it can really, really, really be a great training process in managing the discipline, managing the risk, and then you can grow an account even better once you're able to grow that one.
That's something that nobody talks about is proper account management. I never see anybody tweet about it. I never see anybody talk about it. I talk about it with the traders in my group, and I teach people, especially once you start moving from the break-even phase into the profitable phase, is managing your trading account is very, very important. So, one of the lessons I learned from MF Global is that I don't keep any more money in my trading accounts than what I need for margin. I don't keep a huge amount of money in my account just so I can look at it and pat myself or, beat myself on the chest and say, I got $1 million account. No, I keep literally as much in there as I need to for margin. I have T-bills to identify those accounts so I can, that's a different conversation. So the point is that managing, if I want to trade bigger size, I'm not going to trade bigger size just because I've made money over the course of the last week or so. Whatever I make during the week, I take out of my accounts. So if I've got, back to this 2012, 13, if I've got $5,000 in my account and I made 2,000, I take that 2,000 out. If I'm going to increase my size or I'm going to grow that account, I need to go through the process of adding money into that account. Not just because I've earned money. I'm not going to build my account. 90% of traders fail, Pony. Why do I want to think like 90% of traders? 90% of traders are going to leave the money that they've earned in their trading accounts and grow it that way. And that's a mistake.
Look, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I did that when I first started. And it's a bit of an ego thing as well. you see this number going
Right.
up and you sort of look at your P&L as like this trophy prized possession, and you
Yes.
just love looking at it every day and watching it get greener and greener and greener and build. But then you sort of lose the sense of like, this is actual money. You lose the
Yes.
context of, I should probably take that out and pay off my student loans. I should probably take that out and pay myself. I should, when you only treat it as a trophy item to look at, the other detrimental side of that is when you take a big hit, all you're going to be thinking about is where the account once was.
The
And
ego's
we
on
all know
the right.
you don't trade well when you're trying to get an account back to what it
No.
was.
No, your ego becomes involved, like you said. Your
Mhm.
ego becomes involved either positively or negatively. Positively meaning, at least probably not the right way of saying it, but positively, look at me, I've just made 10,000. Negatively, oh God, I'm the worst trader in the world. I just lost 10,000. When really it's a business. I've got to, we were talking before the interview that I don't lose money, I spend money. I had to change the wording of things so that I can manage my account properly. And if I can manage my account properly, I'm going to manage my trading properly. And to do all of that, I need to manage myself properly.
Mhm.
All of this stuff, becomes all encompassing. I might spend, depending on how busy the market is, I might spend an hour to 2 hours a day actively trading. On a day like today, not much, but but everything I do, even from what I told you that my wife and I did yesterday, just spending the day together, doing yoga, working out, walking the dog, lunch with the kids, mass, those sorts of things.
Mhm.
All of that is meant to make me the best version of myself, to make me the best version of myself, so I can be the best trader I can be, and I can be more in control of my trading and treat it more like a business, and not and less like an ego rubber, or not define myself by my P&L. And that's an incredibly important thing. My sense of self, my sense of self-esteem is not wrapped up in my P&L, because trading is a business like any other. I've got to
Mhm.
spend money to make money. I don't lose it, I don't risk it, I spend it to make it. That helps me continue to control my accounts so that I can manage my account properly. And with our tax accounts, managing my tax accounts and all of those other things right, so I can do it the correct way. I don't find myself in trouble by letting my ego get the best of me.
Yeah. And I think what you're mentioning is really important in terms of having or not having your sense of self and your identity tied to your P&L, because I think we are in an era where a lot of the newer traders, people have been doing it for maybe a couple years, feel the need to trade every single day. Trading is fascinating. When you first start out, it's all consuming. It really is. It's exciting, it's emotional, I
Yeah,
mean, they say it shouldn't be, but it is.
it is.
And if your identity is tied to your P&L, if you feel great about yourself every time you're green and you hate yourself every time you're red, that's not sustainable. Like, that's not going to end well. So I think what really helps with that is having like a sense of purpose and an identity outside of trading. Because if you look to trading to give you validation, to say, I am worthy, to say, I am doing good things, like, I'm wealthy, I'm making money, like, if that is your sense of purpose and your source of identity, the days that it doesn't go well, which there are going to be days, no one's perfect, are going to hit you so much heavier if you don't have meaningful relationships and activities and hobbies and things that make you feel good in real life. So, with
Mm,
that being said, walk me through, your morning routine and your habits that are so important to you, because when, you kind of get knocked down and you have to start over, your self-trust is a little bit jeopardized,
mm,
right? You're not feeling as
good.
confident in yourself to make the right decisions. And one of the things that I think, you're going to attest to here is you can rebuild self trust through the smallest little promises to yourself, the smallest little routines. Like, the building blocks can be very simple. So, what does that look like for you?
Well, I wake up every morning at the same time. I go to bed at the same time. I wake up at the same time, and I get plenty of sleep. I've heard traders, and I've seen traders talk about how they don't sleep.
2 hours, like
Yeah,
it's a badge of honor. Yeah.
horrible idea. Oh my gosh. So I wake up every morning at 4:45 or 5 in the morning without an alarm at this point. I've been doing it long enough to I just, wake up. No, hardly ever later than 5. And if I do sleep in later than 5, if I wake up at 5:30 or 6, right away I know that this is not my day to be sitting in front of the screens. I'm tired or just something is wrong, right? So I know that I don't need to be trading. Maybe I need to work out or I need to go do something more productive than sitting in front of the screens trading. So I wake up every morning at 4:45 or 5, and the first thing I do is I make my bed. If my wife is still in it, then I just make my side of the bed. And it's such that to me that it's just so important. It's something I learned. I studied to be a Catholic priest in my 20s. It's one of the things that I learned when I was in seminary was to make my bed. That the state of my soul. This priest told me this years ago, and I remembered it. The way that my room looks in the seminary, or the way that I keep everything in my life, is going to be reflective of the inner of the soul, right? So the first thing I do is I make my bed, and that makes me feel pretty good about myself. I've got an accomplishment. I've done something.
Small wins, tiny wins. They
small
feel good, and they're doable.
And they're doable, and and they add up. They add up to big things. That's it. Next thing I do is I hit my knees and I'll pray, just a quick prayer to thank God for the day. And then I'll go through a morning meditation. For me, I'm Catholic, so during Lent, it's been a little bit more prayerful, but there are a ton of different guided meditations on YouTube. There's a ton of them, like the Calm app,
I use Calm. So, Tamara Levitt, I think is her name. Yeah. She is my favorite person on Calm. So she has a daily 10-minute meditation. Her voice is the most soothing thing to I
do the same thing.
She's incredible. And then at the end of every meditation, maybe the last minute, she has the most profound little couple sentences of wisdom to get your day going, like an analogy, a little story to think about. And it just is the perfect way to start the day.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, all the time, her voice to me is so soothing. At night, the same way. I'll listen to a guided meditation by her, and I'll fall right to sleep.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm geeking out a little bit right now because you and I have two things on our list that are the same. First thing I do, I make my bed. I have to. I fully believe the state of your room is the state of your mind.
Yep.
And what's funny is years ago, I never used to make my bed, and I started doing a habit tracker. I listened to James Clear at a seminar in Denver, and I got a habit tracker, and I literally it was so foreign for me to do it. But every time I did it, I had to check my box. I checked enough boxes to where now if I'm not making the bed, call the police, call 911, there's something wrong. I'm not well. It's so ingrained in me that the bed has to be made.
Me too. And my wife and I normally wake up around the same time. So she'll get up and she'll go do her thing, and I'll make the bed, and if she's still in it, make my side of the bed. It's so important. James Clear talked about, finding things to be 1% better at. And I don't think that that's, something that we can actually do, but there are a lot of things that we can do better at every day. I don't mean the compounding aspect of it. I just mean to be better every single day. And that does add up to compound. That does make real change in our lives. Making our bed is important. When we sit down, a lot of us, not me, but a lot of other traders will have their trade set up in their bedroom. How are you going to separate work from where you sleep? There's a whole routine that needs to go into it. It took me a good year to learn how to be at work at home, to learn how to work at home. I would get up and take a shower and do the normal things I do, and I would dress like I was going onto the trading floor. I would drive to the train station, get a paper, drink a cup of coffee, and then drive home. And when I came home, I walked in the house. Nobody said anything to me. If the kids were home or I was at work, my wife would say, "Bye, honey. Have a good day at work."
I love that because I struggle with that. I'm work from home. I'm trade from home. The boundaries are very, very unclear sometimes. And it was, I think, in the beginning of the pandemic when I had moved out here, I was still some days I'd wake up in my pajamas and then I'd get to work. And I was like, this is gross. This is not. So I started shifting gears. I had a clear morning routine and I would change clothes every day. Sometimes I would put a little perfume and a little makeup on just for myself.
I do it every day. So that now back to the morning routine thing. So now after my morning meditation or prayer, depending on what I got going on in my life, then I'll do a little bit of yoga, like just some easy light stretching for 15, 20 minutes. And at that point, I'm up an hour. I come downstairs and then I do also some breathing exercises. So I'm getting into Wim Hof again, but just some normal breathing exercises. I do all of that before my meditation. I forgot to mention that. I should have mentioned that. That helps me just kind of oxygenate my body and get my blood flowing again. So then I do my meditation, I do my yoga, and then I come downstairs, and that's when I look at the markets and I read the news and I prepare for the day. The last thing I do, the very last thing I do is I take a shower. That I when I take a shower, I listen to music and I turn it up real loud and I dance around and I sing like an idiot,
Yeah.
but then it helps get my blood going, helps, get my, adrenaline pumping. And I'm already, I feel like I'm reaching kind of a crescendo before the market opens. So now I come down at just before the crude open at 8 o'clock Central Time, and I'm most in possession of myself, self-possessed. I am self-possessed by that time. I've texted or tweeted about this, and you and I were talking about it. I'm confident, carefree, fearless, and focused, or CCFF. If I can determine if I'm CCFF through my morning routine, that's my first step in deciding what kind of size I'm going to trade in the morning, whether it's crude or the S&P or whatever. I need to determine my level of self-possession through my level of confidence, carefree, fearless, and focused. And I only know that through my morning routine. If I'm sluggish, if I'm tired, if I'm having a hard time, then I've got to cut my size, or I need to not trade. Because remember, and this is so important, something that you were talking about younger traders, and I think we're all guilty of it, is we all have to remind ourselves that not having a position is in fact a position. Deciding not to trade is a trading decision, and it's an important trading decision. Too many young traders think that you've got to be part of every wiggle or every trade or every move, and that is not the key to successful trading.
It's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. The key to successful trading is to learn when to go big, go small, or not at all. To know when to increase your size, decrease your size, and when not to trade. And for me to determine that, I need to be self-possessed. And if I'm self-possessed, I need to be confident, carefree, fearless, and focused. And all of those things that we talked about are determined upon my morning routine. And the last thing, after I shower and I'm walking downstairs into my office, my wife will always give me a kiss and send me off to work. Have a good day, honey. You too, babe. I'll talk to you later. All right. See you later. And now we're in the same house. We're in the same place.
I love it.
But there's that separation. I'm at work.
I love it. No, I really do think like rituals can be very sacred, and they give you a sort of structure that then also translates into what you do in the market. And confident, carefree, fearless, focused. I love those words because there are mornings, like I'm with you. If I don't snooze anymore. I try not to, but if I ever hit the snooze button, not a good day to trade.
Right.
Not a good day to trade, because I work a full-time job as well. So if I'm late waking up, I'm probably going to half-ass my routine. It's not going to happen in a like cool, calm, collected way that makes me feel good. I'm going to feel like I'm rushing to make things happen. Taking that rushed feeling and putting it behind a screen and looking at the market and trying to take a trade when I'm not at equilibrium in other areas of my life. I've done it many times before. They're not my best trading days.
No.
Ever. And I think, like we discussed, the ability to sit days out of trading, it's very much like the making your bed thing. Like to me, it used to be completely foreign. I felt like I had to trade every single day. That's what you do. You wake up, you got to trade. There's something to do every day. No, there's not. You don't have to. And honestly, the more comfortable you get with saying, you know what, my schedule today, it doesn't allow for it. My headspace, it doesn't allow for it. I'm going to sit today out. It actually becomes more and more empowering. And I find that I have more mental capital and more mental real estate to where when I am ready to take a trade, I'm a sniper. Like I am so much better at preserving my mental capital and putting toward trades that actually matter and trades that I am mentally equipped to handle. So I just honestly, I think it's super empowering to sit out sometimes.
Oh,
I know
huge.
it's something people struggle with, but I think it's good to sit it
Oh,
out
it's
sometimes.
incredibly important. If I've got a superpower as a trader, it's the ability to be able to miss a move and to be emotionally detached from it. And I've missed some big, gigantic moves. I'm a much better short than I am a long. So I've missed some huge rallies in the indices because I'm not confident, carefree, fearless, and focused. And so that is a major, major, major one of my strengths is I'm able to miss moves and to not get emotionally tied to it. You know,
Right.
even if I was trading for it, even if I was trading to be short from, like this morning, I was trading to be short under the opening range and I got stopped. I think I'm flat now. I got stopped out. And the market breaks 50 points. The market will break 50 points. It's just going to do it without me.
Totally.
Going back to the year that everybody died. My mom died. My sister died. My mother-in-law died. No 08, no 09. The market fell apart, and I fought the rally in the Nasdaq before I went to the hog pit, or actually before I left the floor to open this prop group. I fought the rally all the way up. I just fought it. I fought the algos. I fought it. So when the markets fell apart, I would have just, I came into the Nasdaq one day and I said, oh God, I would have killed it. I would have made $1 million if I was here. And a guy turned to me, the guy stood next to me, sweating like an animal, working his ass off. And he said, yeah, you could have been long like me. You could have been buying breaks and you could have gotten killed too. So be grateful you weren't here.
Right.
And that hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't miss anything. I wasn't involved in it. I wasn't here. I wasn't trading it. Therefore, I didn't miss anything. So yeah, I could look at a chart and say, I would have been short S&P and NASDAQ all the way down. I'd have been hammered. I'd have made millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. Maybe I would have bought a break and got run over and blew out too.
1000%.
So that transfers over to nowadays that I'm okay missing stuff. It really is important, Pony. It's so important to know that the secret to trading, if there is a secret, the secret is to know when to increase your size, decrease your size, and when not to trade. When not to trade is relative for all of us. It might be because you're not confident, carefree, fearless, and focused. It might be because the market stinks. It might be because your timing is off. It might be a combination of all of it. Yeah. But the result is the same. We have to protect ourselves from whatever downfall that there possibly is waiting for us.
Absolutely. And I think speaking of when to sit it out is I've found if I have something going on in my life outside of the markets and it's something that's not going well, something that's affecting me emotionally, something that I don't feel like I have control of, those are the days where you're going to try to funnel that emotion into the market and you're going to try to make the market have you feel better about yourself. Like, yes, you know what? Everything in my life is crumbling right now. I don't feel good about this. I'm just going to trade. I'm going to make some money. I'm going to make myself feel like I'm worthy. I'm going to make myself feel like I'm good at this, that I can control something in my life. Guess what? Those days when you're funneling emotion into, a trading platform, trying to have it tell you that like you're on the right path somewhere in your life, that something is going well, you're not going to trade your best those days. Ever.
No, even if you catch the top of a move, if you sell the high of the move, oh my God, I sold them great. You're going to get out of it way too early. You're going to screw it up somehow, because you're just not seeing it the right way. You're not being paid we're paid in two different ways, in points and in money and information. You're just not getting paid in information correctly because you've not taken care of those small things in your life that reflect the inner state of your soul or your mind. And if you're neglecting those things, then eventually you're going to sell the top of a move. You're going to sell the high, and you're going to get out way too quick. You're going to leave way too much money on the table, and then you're going to get caught in chasing that. Yes. And you lose a bunch of money. And when you lose a bunch of money, all you're going to be is resentful because you sold the top. You should have made a ton, and all you did was just get caught in the mishigas in the middle and just really get yourself hurt.
Totally.
Now you're chasing money, you're chasing missed opportunity, you're chasing stuff. And if you're chasing things, you're on your way to going broke if you're not already broke.
Mm-hmm. And all of this, again, I think comes back to things that deteriorate your self-trust, right?
Yes.
So people might say, it's just a morning routine. What's the big deal? I firmly believe in this. How you do anything is how you do everything. Keep your promises to yourself, even if they're very small things. I'm going to wake up at this time. I'm going to go to the gym today. If you say you're going to do it, do it, because I promise you all of that is going to be even more empowering. And then when you are in a trade, you're more likely to follow your rules. You're more likely to take the setup that you plan for instead of just jumping in and taking boredom trades or revenge trades. All of this stuff parallels each other. Like, I firmly, firmly, firmly believe that you can build self-trust by stacking up small wins. It doesn't have to be anything legendary. It doesn't. In fact, I think one of the most important things when building a routine or trying to build self-trust is to make the things that you're achieving attainable. Like, you're talking about making your bed. Pax, we're talking about making our beds.
That's it.
Like, it's not crazy out of this world undoable. We're talking about a little meditation session that makes us feel good. We're talking about changing clothes, whatever it is to you that works for
All
you.
of these little things. When I started on the screens, I still smoked. I was in, we all smoked on the floor.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's wild to think about.
Oh my God, it's wild to think that I used to smoke. I mean, I can't even, and I liked it, and I did a lot of it too.
Wow.
But I
That seems
remember,
like such a it's already a stressful environment, right? I mean, it makes sense that everybody's puffing on cigarettes, but like, what a visual.
oh, what a life. But and I remember thinking, like doing small things, and I remember thinking, I got to stop. I'm 40. I was 42 at the time, or 40. I need to stop smoking. I need to stop. I need to get myself healthy. I'm overweight. I need to stop. I need to eat better. So the only way that I did that, and literally, the only way that I lost the weight, that I kept it off, that I stopped smoking, is I put on a pair of running shoes. I tied them up. I stretched, and I went outside and I ran around the block. That's it. Now I run between 5 to 7 miles a day. I ran around the block and I huffed and puffed and it hurt. My lungs hurt. And, and gradually through that, I stopped smoking. I lost weight. I got into shape, and I'm healthier at 54 than what I was when I was 34. I literally healthier at 54 than when I was in my 20s. I take better care of I take better care of myself. I'm in better shape, the whole thing. But I only did that from small things. Like people will go into the gym again and start working out for the New Year's resolutions. They've got all of these big grandiose ideas and they're going to do all of these big things. And sometimes you can do big things with some big ideas. But I think that my life changed because I put on a pair of running shoes and I went outside and ran around the block. My life changed because I made my bed and because I did it the next day. And I don't need to run a marathon, but I just need to do what I did today. I need to do it again tomorrow.
Well, I want to circle back to what you said about I didn't have this massive goal. I just put my running shoes on and I went outside. I want to sort of parallel this to these small account challenges that we see, right? There's nothing wrong with starting with a small account, but a lot of these small accounts say I'm starting with 1,000 to 100,000. That's the small account challenge. Okay. If you put out a goal, goals are great. They drive us further. But if there isn't a system in place that's going to work to get you there, having yourself go from a small account to 100K as the goal, anything that keeps you from getting there is going to feel like a failure.
Right.
And you're unlikely to actually see a process through.
Right.
So for you, you're not saying, I want to be the next bodybuilding champion by next week. You're saying, I'm going to throw on some running shoes. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to run little by little. I'm going to increase. It'll get better. Having something be manageable and attainable, I think, is so important, because when our end result or our end desired goal is so big that we lose sight of the process, it really just kind of undoes the progress. It's counterproductive.
It is counterproductive because there's too many failures, and those failures then blow us apart. I'm not real familiar with the small account challenges. They're not part of my sphere
Sure.
of trading. But I know from my standpoint, or from some of the traders that I mentor, is starting off with underfunded or starting off with a small account, what we need to do, right? Staying focused. I think your point was something I talk a lot about, which is staying focused on your process and not your P&L, or staying focused more on your process. As long as your process is consistent, is repeatable, and it's scalable. It's consistent to where you can pull money out of the market. You can pull more money out of the market than what you're spending. It's repeatable in that you can do it in different market situations, different market conditions, and it's scalable. You can increase your size, decrease your size, and decide when not to trade. It's got all those things built in. If you've got those three things, scalable, repeatable, consistent, then you've got a process that you can employ consistently every day. You can employ this process every day. Your results will be there. My screens here, I don't think you can probably see them. Am I still short? Still short S&P. Okay. So, what I don't have on my domes is I don't have my P&L.
Right.
I don't want to know what my P&L is. In fact, my wife was a clerk on the floor for 18 years. So my wife had managed the accounts of all of her traders and her brokers. She manages my trading accounts. I don't even want to be mindful of what my P&L is at the end of the week. My wife will take the money out that I've earned. Sometimes she'll tell me, or we'll talk about it over dinner, but normally we don't. I know whether I made money or whether I lost money. And usually I'm pretty good about knowing how much I made or lost at the time. But, I don't really care to know those sorts of things because it's going to make me focus too much on my result. If I'm focused on my result, then I'm going to lose focus in my process. If I lose focus in my process and everything I did to build up to that, level of confidence, carefree, fearless, and focusedness is going to go by the wayside. And then everything just, it becomes gambling at that point. It's not a business.
Exactly. Oh, so many good takeaways from this discussion. I love it because I think a lot of times people are so focused on the technical aspect and even just talking about trading psychology and all of that. But the simplicity of a routine and a process and things outside of the trading world that impact you within the trading world, I think are so important and just not talked about enough. Yes. So Pax, thank you. I mean, this was fantastic. And like I said, I'm super nerding out that we have some of the similarities in terms of what we do every day with Tamara in the morning and her calm, angelic voice.
Yes. Yeah. After all these years of trading, I can tell. I don't know how you guys, you newer traders and you younger traders can sift through all of the nonsense and BS that's on Twitter or other places.
It's noisy. It's very noisy.
And there's so much bullshit out there. It's disgusting. It's not hard for me to see who's real and who's not. And just listening to your talk, listening to past interviews that you've done and other videos, and participating and actively listening has already shown me that you're really on the right track. And this conversation, not only are you on the right track, I don't like using the word professional traders because that means somebody who's licensed and managing money. Sure. I know what people mean colloquially, somebody who's consistent and profitable. I like to use the word long-term profitable trader as opposed to professional. I can see that you are on the way to being a long-term profitable trader. You're already there and you're continually moving forward, moving towards that goal. And we move towards that goal by doing the small things, the little things. And that's how I know you're real, because you're doing those small things and those little things. And you're willing to talk about your difficulties. You're willing to talk about your struggles and your pain. And, you're not just taking pictures next to your Ferraris and BMWs and showing.
Oh no, I'm very much a work in progress. Right. I'm very much a work in progress.
Me too. After 25 years, so am I.
Yeah. Then that's what I love hearing. That's what all traders say. They're like, it never goes away. The challenges, the temptations, the moments of revenge, you're going to be faced with those things. You just have more experience with them over time. Yeah. Thank you for the kind words, Pax. It was lovely having you on.
It's a great conversation. Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to Vegas and seeing you and Delhi do all the sign language.
I'm looking forward to Vegas too. I can't wait for that trip. I'm looking forward to meeting all you guys in person.
I am too.
Your trades. It's really, we really have a great group of traders.
Awesome team.
We do.
All right. Thank you, Pax.
Thank you, Pony.